Hi, my name is Rick McKenna. I play for the Nelson Giants. I'm 6'5", 98 kgs. I play power forward.
Welcome to Sal's Hoopheads. Great to have your company as always. What a week it was in the Sal's NBL. Some big losses and some massive wins. It tightens everything up, and all of a sudden, every team still in the hunt for the final six. So much to talk about, and as always, Starsky and Hutch.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. I said chips, actually.
Chips would have been good. This is chopper equivalent.
There we go. Oh,
chopper,
very
choppers
close.
For life, baby. Choppers for life.
Very, very close. Some news out of the Breakers.
There is some news.
Recruit, Mangot Mathiang.
I like what Mathiang brought for Illawarra, and so much so that Europe went calling. He went to Israel to play midway through that, well, near the end of that Hawks season, when it was just a little bit lost by then. But he just gives them a little bit of mobility, whether he's a starter or off the bench, whether he fills Derek Pardon's role or he fills Rob Lowe's role. That remains to be seen with the imports they get.
Breakers have said most underrated player in the league.
That sounds like a press release.
It was a press release. Funny about that.
I think he's
they said Defensive Player of the Year possibility.
He does have that kind of talent, and I think before the injury that he was working through last year with Illawarra, he was a higher level player. He looked like he regained that form in Israel. You know, averaging, I think is it 13.9 rebounds in the Israeli league. That's no joke. And to be able to set a double-double there, I think that's going to enable him to come in, be that starting spot at the 5, and allow the Breakers to fill out those spots around him with imports, which is going to be key with some of the players they've lost in this offseason.
This is what I like. What they do is they bring in guys who've come off injury, who have. Mathiang is actually I think he had 2 years where he's trying to treat his leg. And then now they say, look, excuse me, you can have this opportunity, you can do it here and prove yourself on a winning culture, winning team with a great point guard.
Yep.
And then that's your springboard to bigger and better things.
Injury-free, which is the best news of all. Round 10 results in the Sal's NBL. Have a look at this, because the big news here, Saints, Sharks, Hawks all lost. Airs, Jets, Giants all won. Quite amazing. That Nuggets win over the Saints. Nobody expected that. Nobody. Airs got the job. Did you pick the Nuggets?
No, I didn't pick that one.
No.
I did initially until they were hurt.
The way you look,
I was thinking, wait, of all the upsets I got last week, not that one.
Well, you did tip the Airs. You did tip the Giants as well. And I think you may have tipped the Jets. So it was a topsy-turvy week, and that's always a possibility in the Sal's NBL.
I know we're going to put the ladder up pretty quickly, but I just really, first of all, never underestimate the heart of a champion, Rudy Tomjanovich with the Tiger Nuggets, because they've been on a slide. They took advantage of a weak defensive unit that the Saints put out there, and for a team that has been waiting for their opportunities to come, like the Saints, they didn't take it here, and they needed to. And that's going to make things a little bit trickier when teams are reloading around them.
Hold that thought. Jets and the Nuggets. Jets get it by 5. Their guns came to play.
Because they scored 72 points. And when those guys all contribute, they don't always have to hit their season averages, but when they do, that's great for the Jets, because they've got a little bit of youth on their side, but they've got Marcel Jones, and he was huge down the stretch, and he's a great mid-season pickup.
Danny Pippen was massive in this game as well, got the job done, but they just look like, again, that cohesive unit that we saw earlier this season, Case.
At times they can do. I think 70 seems to be the bare minimum that those 3 imports have to score to enable to give them a chance. It does become about the other guys, and then Marcel Jones, as mentioned, 2 huge shots. These ones right here are essentially what won the game for him. A huge midseason pickup, coming in, fitting into the culture, accepting his role, but stepping up when they need him most. That's what they need, a little bit more scoring.
Let's go back to the capital. You spoke about that game. Nuggets went in, rank outsiders. No Ja'Cory McLaughlin. More on him in a moment. They were also banged up. Todd Withers from the night before. There was 4 players going in, questionable with injuries. Somehow they came out and they just delivered big time.
Somehow. 3-point ball, I think. That's the only way.
I mean, it was Withers and Harris who hit 13 of the 14 threes. So when Michael Harris is on and there's no one else scoring the ball like Ja'Cory McLaughlin can do and set it up, and you've got Withers contributing at both ends like he does, but shooting the ball like that and stretching that floor, it's pretty much lights out for teams playing.
It was almost bookends. Harris electric in the first quarter. Withers came home with a wet sail in a major way. Saints didn't have the answers.
Well, the Saints' answers defensively haven't been there this season. When they're at their best, they're outscoring people. 85 points is not enough for them to win a ball game because teams are going to score more than that. They do have to find a way to better restrict opposition down the stretch of these games, because right now, this Nuggets game was evidence of, they're getting what they want offensively, and if you're not taking anything away, you're giving away the whole house, and that was the case there.
Withers on Adnam was a very key matchup in that game as well. Kyle Adnam wasn't his productive self. He had an elite, a gun defender on him.
It's the length. That kind of length against Kyle Adnam, that's going to be tough for him to overcome.
There was a big incident in this game. It has gone to the game review panel at league headquarters and has been investigated. We're waiting to hear an outcome, but this is it here. Torrey Smith-Milner with that right elbow on the head of Darcy Knox. There it is right there. And look, I was calling this game. Darcy Knox was visibly shaken after that. Dazed. He did continue to play. He is a player that has suffered concussion in the past. It doesn't look great.
No, it's a cheap shot, and whatever else is happening on in the court, there's no player who comes out and does that out of the blue. So whatever happened out before, he thought he was getting back for, but you can't do that to somebody's back. If you want to get somebody even physically, get them in during the play of the game. Do it with your screening, do it with your rebounding, go through them. But if you're just dropping a shot to the back of somebody's head when they're not looking, that's a cheap shot and it deserves to be punished.
Mulls, your thoughts?
I just echo what Casey said. There's no room in the game for it, and I hope that the appropriate action is taken against him.
That said, there's plenty of guards through the years who I've wanted out.
I was like, my BS meter was hanging.
And I have definitely done worse and got away with it. Personally, I've definitely done worse.
Wow.
There's no question. But
well, get him on the mic.
But the thing is, it's not that it's a cheap shot. There's room for it. And personally, I tell a guard like that, like, if you don't stop, you're going to get hurt. And if he doesn't stop, he gets hurt.
I think with those kind of incidents, bank it, meet them in the six somewhere in that final six, and get revenge somewhere else.
Let's not forget the Saints and the Nuggets had that toe-to-toe after the game down in Dunedin as well. So there's a little bit of feeling between these two teams.
Well, they've won 12 titles, the Saints. They're the championship team 2 of the last 3 years, the Nuggets. Nuggets
have got them twice this season.
Yeah, and the Saints, they are all in on themselves, is the best way of putting it.
Ooh,
you're from Wellington.
Hello.
I played for Wellington. Everybody hates the Saints. There's a bit of feeling between the Saints and all opponents.
Yeah.
Nuggets started 650 with the TAB for that game as well. Quite an amazing win. Sharks and the Airs. Airs look a different team. Armand Fletcher was there, didn't play. Kendrick Ray has made a huge difference to this team.
Just a bit of an upgrade on David Azor. He can obviously shoot the ball, score the ball. They're small. They can go small ball really well, even without Armand Fletcher. That's going to be scary when he's fit and ready to go. And when they need him, Anzat Rosetto does big Anzat Rosetto things, but can Anthony Hilliard fill it up? Still waiting for the Anthony Hilliard from last year to get going. I think they will once they get everybody on that same page in Armand.
Averaging about 12 points less a game at the moment, Hilliard.
Most impressive to me, though, was Carlton Davison and his impact defensively.
Good.
7 steals.
Seven steals, and the way
points.
his game has changed in the last year, from really raw, really trying to harness that athleticism, to finding ways to use it in the passing lanes, which is a great way to utilize it. But also his ability, I think, is going to step up as a scorer as the season goes along.
Shot selection.
We're going to have a look at the run home very, very shortly on the show. The Airs still have 7 games to play as well. They are a sneaky chance.
I've got everyone making the 6.
You have? Fantastic. Yeah. Good stuff. Hawks and the Bulls, overtime. Hawks lose again at home.
That's my take on the Hawks. I just don't know what's going on. They just find new ways to lose.
Well, this was dramatic, wasn't it?
New situations to lose. They just, it's just tough for them. It's great to watch them, and then it's really hard to watch them suffer like that. I really like them.
Close.
It's so close. Like that's a good look for Daron Rukawa.
They played well enough to win, but they didn't play well enough throughout the game to secure the win.
Yeah.
You know, when you dig yourself a hole like that, especially on your home court, you're going to utilize energy to get back into it, and they're not a deep team. They just don't have the depth to be doing that, to be chasing from behind like that.
This guy here, DKP.
They didn't have the bone marrow for him. Like, Jordan Hunt isn't a big-time paint defender, and Ira Lee had his hands full with DKP all night.
Didn't miss a shot.
Perfect.
Didn't miss a shot.
It was impressive. It was so good to see. And it
Pumpkinhead.
was really unfortunate what happened to him against.
It sounds
the
like an
Bulls.
insult, Justin.
Are you talking to us again?
That was a Pumpkinhead, wasn't it? Am I right?
You're
Is
right.
that the design?
Yeah, you're right.
We're going to talk more about the Hawks in just a moment because they may not win a game at home this season, believe it or not. And I don't know whether that's going to be good enough to make the final six. Giants and the Rams. The Giants got the win.
Man, that's impressive. Like, I was writing the Giants off, I think, in week 1. It felt like, but it's just great to see because they deserve it. I really like Mike Fitcher. I like the players on this team. I like the fact that they got somebody like Callum McRae who fills up the middle and will crash the glass and can score the ball. And it was really good to see Alex McNaught take what happened to him against the Bulls and the last couple of weeks actually use it and learn from it.
Well, here it is. We're about to see it. This big steal at the end
Look
on
at that.
Tevin Brown, and that was it. Game iced. Giants get up, and they're back in the hunt.
And Cal McRae, I think him stepping in,
On
bringing
debut.
those 26 points, the size he brings helps the Giants, and he's a better rebounder than Kevion Pippen, and that's what they were sorely missing these last few games when they couldn't get wins.
Just quickly, Tuatara get the Bulls in the Sunday night game. Rob Lowe, 30 and 15, just doing it all again. Dan Fortu's having a fair sort of a patch at the moment. 19 points, 16 rebounds. The news out of this one was Dom Kilman-Porto rolling an ankle. We're not sure how serious that is, but Tuatara just continue.
Tyrell Harrison casts came off on Monday. Hopefully he's allowed basketball contact pretty soon, if not immediately, but you never know with something coming out of a cast. But yeah, Dom Kilman-Porto is a big loss for them. It'll be interesting to see how they go against the Sharks on Sunday.
No DKP, no answer for Rob Lowe, who finished with 30 and 15 and is still my MVP favorite.
Yep, I think we're all with you as well. Ladder, as it sits at the moment in the Cells NBL, 2/3 of the way through the season. There we go.
My thing is here, Justin, the only change came at the top. Everyone after the round stayed where they were. There was no
However-
change. But in the middle of the round, they were going up and down. But it's only the Tuatara and the Rams. This is how crazy this season has been. It's awesome.
Well, teams 5, 6, 7 all lost. Teams 8, 9, 10 all won. Let's have a look at the run home because this is really important. Let's go to the Saints to start off with, currently sitting in 5th position. That's the run home for the Saints. Now, all of those games...
See, now, this is what's going to happen to the Saints.
Well,
They used up all their home games. And now they've got this, They've got 4 of the next 6?
away, yep.
Yikes.
Saints are a good team on the road, though. They get on there, they put the armor on, they band together and play well. Obviously, games that they can win on there, but you can see it. Their destiny is not in their hands.
But they got the Tuatara and the Bulls on the road, and by the time they hit the Bulls, hopefully Tyrell Harrison is back for Bulls fans. That's going to be tough.
Got the Airs this week. I'm really looking forward to that one as well. Sharks, here's the Sharks run home.
Will there be 400 points in that Saints game, do you think?
Could well be. Look at the Sharks. They've got 4 on the road as well, and they've got some tough matchups.
Yeah, you do. You're going to have a tough matchup, especially when you've got a point guard scoring 45 points and not getting the win. I mean, that for Jeremy Kendall and the Sharks, that's a big night, but that's a frustrating loss for them.
The double this week, Casey. They're up playing in Auckland. That's huge.
It could just be about wrapped up for them if it doesn't go well for them this week. If they come out of that with 2 losses,
Yep.
I don't find an easy path for them to get into the final 6 after that.
Hawks run home. They have less games than anyone else. They have 4 at home, and that's what scares me because this team cannot win on their home deck.
Fewer games, but more home games, which is actually not a good thing. Pettigrew Green Arena seems to be some sort of weird twilight zone for this team, and that's tough because it's the Nuggets and the Tuatara, the Saints. Oh man, I want. Maybe they need to just tweak the roster a little bit.
Yeah, yes, they are 0 for home right now. Haven't won those 4 games, but the overtime loss, a triple overtime loss, a loss on the buzzer.
Yep.
I mean, it's all they were right there. It's so close.
Painful for them, man.
Definitely not knocking them out yet, but once again, the time is now.
Let's go Hawks.
A little bit of a whisper doing the rounds at the moment that the Hawks this week will add an import.
Why do you guys tell me these things during the show? Like, honestly,
Did you know that, Case?
I knew that. I did know that.
Is there another WhatsApp group that I'm not a part of that you guys trade secrets about?
Busted.
Yeah, it's the one with day
Knew
jobs.
it.
It's a WhatsApp day job group.
Giants run home.
I have a day job.
Here we
You
go.
have a morning job.
What about the Giants? They got 4 at home.
Oh, wow. It'd be interesting to see how Callum McRae goes because he looks really good for them. He fits that role nicely. And again, good amount of home games.
The smallest amount of room for error, I think, because they have to play at their best to be able to beat teams. They've got some tough tests for Callum McRae in that front line in the next couple of weeks. And for me, their bottom is much lower than their high, so they're going to have to really work to stick with and get finished on the season.
I agree. Jets run home. And this is a team that we know is more than capable. They play the Saints twice. They play the Rams. It could come down to that last game of the season
that'd be good.
against the Hawks.
That'd be good.
Prayers up.
Number one Jets fan in the house right here next to me. But
I'm looking forward to that. Have I got that game? You guys talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to have a look at my calendar.
what I do like in there is only one doubleheader for them the rest of the way. They're a team that relies on
I do. I have that call. Can't wait.
So that's going to enable them to really rest these guys up and give their best for 40 minutes.
I've got all of these teams making the 6, by the way.
Well, this is the team that is an outside chance, but they're a chance. The Airs.
Yeah.
More games than anyone else coming home. Full health right now. Armand Fletcher expected in this week.
They are all big games. Obviously big games, but pretty winnable.
What about this week? Jets and the Saints.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty amazing. Like, that's good for the Airs because they went to Southland, did a job on the road.
Yep.
Armand Fletcher wasn't needed, but available. The only tough games, Airs on the road to the Nuggets and the Airs hosting the Tuatara.
The only tough games?
All of them are tough.
They're all tough. There's not a game on there they're not capable of winning, but also with their Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type play this year, there's not a game on there they're not capable of losing by 10 points.
That's us.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah. That's one for next week, Justin. Write that down.
Save it.
Put it in our WhatsApp group.
Well, that's the run home in the Sal's NBL. The next 5 rounds are going to be red hot. So much changes from week to week. Speaking of red hot, how about those Denver Nuggets?
NBA champions!
A gentleman's sweep. Jokic is the greatest basketball player to ever walk the earth.
Oi!
Okay.
Wow.
But he's moving up the list.
Remember when he wasn't even drafted properly in the All-Star game? That's how disrespected he is as an NBA star.
He was drafted during a Taco Bell commercial.
Yeah, but in the All-Star game, he had to walk over to LeBron and go, I'm drafting myself here, man. I'm so disrespected.
The Euros don't get the respect from the American players that they obviously deserve.
Yep.
But, he's going to get his flowers. No player has ever done what he's done.
Yeah.
Leading his team in scoring, rebounding, and assists, averaged a triple-double throughout not just the finals, throughout the playoffs. Two MVPs, a finals MVP now, of NBA championship. The list of accolades is quickly moving him up from a top 25 guy. I think there's 11 guys all time that have an NBA championship and 2 MVPs.
Yep.
So you're talking about him in the pantheon of the greats, with a chance, if Denver does what a lot of pundits think they can do over these next 3 years, of becoming a top 5 player all time.
As great as he is and as great as he wasn't alone. I mean, this was a team performance. There were
4 other players.
There were some
to get
other
those
players.
assists.
Yep, but they absolutely came to play, didn't they?
Yeah, Jamal Murray, that combo with him and Jokic, it's just so fun to watch. Jamal Murray is just a great scorer. They're savvy. They know where to be. You'd love to play with a player like Jokic as well if you're a guard, because he doesn't care about his stats. He's not going out, I've got to get mine.
And let's not forget the tough times that Murray had been through as well.
To come back after basically not playing for 2 seasons, which is one of the reasons people underestimated Denver. They forgot about the camaraderie those players had built together on the court. I love Aaron Gordon in this matchup. I love MPJ, even though he wasn't consistent across all the finals. At times, his length really caused problems for Jimmy Butler. At times, his scoring really got them through stretches. So this is a deep team with a lot of guys signed for a long time, and it looks like a dynasty in the making if the work rate stays.
Let's all hail the champs. Hail the champs. Well done, Denver.
Mile High City.
Well, straight out of the NBA, we now talk Tall Ferns, and of course they are gearing up for the Asia Cup, not too far away now. They've just been in Europe. They've had a win, 4 losses, 3 games against Serbia. They were all losses, went down to Turkey, but had a win against Poland.
It's pretty good to see that they can get these games, that they get that experience, they get to be on the road together, build the trust. the familiarity of playing basketball together for the national team is a wonderful opportunity. I don't mind the losses. It's just the fact that they get to play consistently over those 5 games, which I like it.
Yep, absolutely. Charlize, very good.
To get a 5-game series like this in Europe is a great thing. I mean, those losses to Serbia, while disheartening, it reminds me a little bit before the 2006 World Cup. We went to Brazil. We played Brazil 5 times in 11 days, lost all 5. And it does a lot to you. But you do test yourself. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It was, but it does test you mentally. It does test you physically, and that's what you have to be. It is important to improve, but the wins and losses aren't what they're striving.
What did you learn
towards better performances?
What did you learn in those 5 losses against Brazil, though? That prepared you.
Okay, no,
I never want to block out Anderson Varejão again.
Knew it, and you learned something.
It was ridiculous. I did one story. Nina Vucinic was in the locker room at one of the games after he had gotten like the 9th offensive rebound, and he goes, "What is this guy? The best offensive rebounder in the world?" And I just thought to myself, I was like, I think he is.
Well, we're going to be following the Tall Ferns all the way through the Asia Cup. Right now, though, round 11, Sal's NBL. Here we go. This is what's coming up. Nuggets and the Rams, Giants, Hawks, Jets, Airs. Now, Jets, actually, Giants, Hawks. Let's start with that one because that's your feature game, Case. And it's a big one too, Friday night, because it will be the retirement hanging from the rafters, the number 14 singlet for Mika Vukona.
Going to be a lot of emotion in the house. One of the all-time great Giants on that short list of greatest ever for the Giants. Not for me to say, but I think in that game, the Giants, if they get this win, I think the Hawks are really on the ropes.
4-point game, either way.
Really on the ropes. So this is a chance for the Giants to solidify their chase and possibly take the Hawks out of it, and vice versa. With the emotion right in there, it's going to be tough to beat the Giants on their home court.
Your feature game, Mulls, and I like this one. It's the Jets and the Airs on Saturday.
Offense, baby. I think maybe another game that could have 400 in it as well combined. These two teams, they won't stop each other that well. I think the Jets' perimeter defense was something for the first half of the season. It's fallen away a little bit when they're trying to find themselves, but this is going to be fun.
Yep.
This will be a fun game to watch.
And you talk about 4-point games, exactly that. It swings one way or the other. These teams all need to win. Let's turn over the page. Saturday night's game, Tuatara and the Sharks. Sharks have got a tough double. Saints in the Airs on Sunday. Really looking forward to that. Pressure's on. And then the Bulls and the Sharks finish it off. That game also live on Prime.
Tough ask for the Sharks. If they don't get one of these, I think you may be closing the door on their season.
Here we go. Yes, no. Do not sit on the fence, Starsky and Hutch. Is Kendrick Ray the best mid-season pickup we've seen so far? Haven't seen the Websters yet, so take them out of the equation.
There's so many.
Because they're only playing 5 games, so that you can't say they're mid-season.
Just a yes or a no will do.
Yes.
Who else am I judging
Joe
against?
Lawson.
Callum McRae.
Technically Ira Lee, maybe.
Well,
maybe, because I can't count.
I'll say yes.
Fair enough.
Not a confident yes. I don't know. There's too many players.
Give us
There's too much
options.
movement.
Can't give you options, yes or
Marcel Joneses.
You gotta win.
Are winless at home this season and have more home games remaining against the Nuggets, Saints, Tuatara and Jets. That's their 4 home games. Will they win any of them?
Yes.
Who? Nuggets, Saints, Tuatara, Jets.
It's a law of
Who do they
averages.
beat?
Even if they
Just
lose
give us
3
one.
of them,
Just give us one.
They'll win one.
Yeah, which one?
No, that's not the yes/no question. You want a yes/no, and now you want answers. What is it, Justin?
The Giants, Jets and Airs are all back in the race for the final 6. Will any of them make it?
Yes, all of them make it, Justin. I said all show. All 10 teams make the 6.
Yes, I think somebody does make it.
Yeah, I think they do as well. Should the Breakers be trying harder to convince Rob Lowe to not retire? Play one more season, yes or no?
I want to say yes, but that ship is sailed. Rob Lowe is done. He's gone. He's had enough. I respect his decision. Why I don't want him to retire, he had a smile on his face. He's at ease with it.
I say no because it would make no more. But we did get that little interview where he said he probably got some more NZNBL in the future for him. More Sal's, baby.
That's great.
Should Pero Cameron be looking at Dan Fortu for the Tall Blacks at the World Cup? He's in great form right now.
As a 4 or a 3?
Anything. In the 12.
Oh, he's definitely looking at him, yeah.
He is being looked at. Will he make the team? I don't know. That's a different question. But yes, he should definitely be.
Well, with no Tom Abercrombie, and you get that 3-4 look as well. I mean, it's pretty tough. Ruben Talangi.
Sounds like Finn Delaney.
Yeah. And
look, it all comes down to positional versatility.
Yeah.
But.
Is it time for Judd Flavel to put Troy Baxter Jr. into the starting lineup at the Rams? Is it time?
Yes.
No.
Is this the best Falcon we've seen this
I don't even
season?
need to see it. Yes, it is.
Have a look at this.
Oh, don't.
Oh, Jordy. Sorry, Jordy.
Why do we got to do Jordan Hunt like that?
I didn't do this, Jordan. This wasn't me. This was definitely.
Why-
This is.
why do
Look
we
at
have
that
to-
smile, Justin. It was Justin.
Why do we have to do Jordan Hunt like that? Like, that's not fair.
That's harsh, man. He lost a game. He lost a game. Is that
Oh,
enough?
let's get
fair
out
on
of
Jordan.
here. Let's get out of here. Hope you've enjoyed it. Sal's a hoop.
I hope Jordan comes up to you, Justin.
As always.
I'm gonna give him Isaiah's
and
name.
gives you a noogie.